I am recording this for the third time. I'm a one take person, as you know, since I screw up all the time and I just kind of continue. Um, the first time I recorded this, I had no sound because my headset wasn't on. The second time I recorded it, I didn't actually hit record. Now I'm recording it, and if it's jumbled, if a tornado comes through, if Lindsay comes down and yells at me, I am just absolutely, if construction starts happening, I'm keeping it. This is the recording. Um, all right. So we sent out the benefits information this morning in an email, and I just kind of wanted to go over kind of what is in that email or what is in that attachment. I put it as an attachment because there's a lot of information and I wanted the tables to be formatted um, exactly how I wanted them to be formatted. And so I didn't want to embed them in an email. I know everyone hates attachments. I'm sorry for that. But with, with this information, it was just much more user friendly for me. So if you want to get out that information while I talk you through what's in it, go ahead and pause me and do that. I'm going to pull up that document and talk you through it right now. Okay, so at the very beginning of the document, I go through just a couple of highlights, um, and then I kind of give you a bit of a narrative. On the second page, I go over kind of the summary of key changes to our four different areas, um, medical, and that should say medical and prescription, dental, life insurance, and vision. Then I get into the tables at the bottom of page two. The very first table is the table that you're used to seeing. That's what's always in the contract and what's online. This is the current plan cost versus the proposed plan's cost. So you see the gold and blue and everything there, your deductibles, your co-pays, so on and so forth. On the right-hand side, you see what our proposed plan designs would cost. So you'll see your deductibles, your office co-pays, your prescription drug co-pays. I will say that um, we've negotiated this for the life of the plan. And so these are going to be your deductibles and co-pays for the next 3 years. All right. Let's go down to the annual premium equivalent. This is basically the annual cost, the total cost of whichever plan you choose. Now, here I gave you dollar amounts just to illustrate how it would look right now if you were in PPO 80, PPO 70, or HDHP 90. HDHP, again, is that high deductible health plan where you can use a health savings account. PPO 80, PPO 70 are typical PPO plans. So if you look at that, right now, calendar year 2026, those costs would be kind of somewhere in between the gold and blue for the PPO 80, and then our PPO 70 and our HDHP are lower costs. These are going to go up a little bit depending on how much healthcare goes up. So usually that's between 4 and 6% each year. But if we had these plans right now, this is what the total cost would be. Okay, number three is just an example, and I'm only using PPO 80 because that's the most expensive of the three proposed plans. This is now what your contribution would be of those numbers we just went over in number two. So current gold, your contribution is now 18, 19, 20, 21, 23%. Current blue is much lower, 10, 11, 12. The proposed PPO 80 is 15% to 20%, depending on how much you make. And again, that's the percentage you'll pay out of the total cost in the table number two. Um, for PPO 70 and HDHP, those costs would be less because they're less expensive plans. Well, your contribution of those plans are smaller, which means you're going to have more money in your pocket. Okay, just to give you an idea of the percentages across the 3 years, um, you'll see in number four, the PPO 80 I just had on the plan that we used for an illustration. You'll see 2027, 2028, 2029, that percentage of your contribution continues to go up. Same with PPO 70, same with HDHP 90. Um, so the amount that it goes up in PPO 70 and PPO and HDHP 90 depends on the amount it goes up for PPO 80. So this is all math that we worked out, and 70 and 90, those are just illustrative. Those percentages are going to change a little bit depending on the total cost of the PPO 80 plan. All you need to know about this table is really the percent contribution that is going to come out of your paychecks. So PPO 80, you see that those are higher percentages compared to PPO 70 and HDHP 90. The higher the percentage, the more money comes out of your paycheck. The lower the percentage, the less money comes out of your paycheck. I should also note here that in that HDHP 90, the university will include an HSA contribution of $500 for an employee-only plan and $1,000 for any other type of plan, spouse, children, or family plan. So you should think about that when comparing costs. Numbers 5, 6, and 7 correspond to dental changes, life insurance changes, and vision changes as someone who wears glasses. The vision benefits have gone up, I would say, pretty dramatically. Life insurance has also gone up in terms of offering us more, and dental insurance has also increased your annual limit and have done one or two other kind of small things. So all those plans, dental, life insurance, and vision, have um, either slightly or moderately increased in our coverage. So those are the plans. Um, you know, I too was pretty disappointed with the elimination of the gold plan, and we went back and forth with the administration on this. The percentage that you would have to be contributing would be very high to pay for that plan, like upper 20s. Um, and across the life of the contract, that may even end up with lower 30s. That ended up being cost prohibitive, um, and it also would cost the university to have another plan. So we landed on these three. I think it's important for you to look at each of them to decide which one fits best for you. In 2025, I had the car accident. My wife had melanoma, so it was really helpful to have that PPO gold plan. Now I think I would just have to make sure I have more money on the side in case anything like that happens. But for me, I think I'm probably between the PPO 80 and the HDHP. I got to look at the benefits of an HSA. I do know you can carry over the entire amount. So it's not like a guessing game the way that the FSA is, where you have to buy a bunch of stuff at the end of the year. You're going to lose it. HSAs are forever, and then when you retire, that money is yours. So you never actually use it, which is a pretty good tax exempt benefit. There are IRS limits to what you could put in an HSA, but I think they're higher than the FSA. So I'm pretty satisfied with where we ended. The university's percentage contribution by employees started out much higher, substantially higher. And in fact, it was so much higher that most of us going from a blue plan to the PPO 80 would have taken an overall compensation decrease. And when we kind of worked out the numbers with the administration, they too didn't want that. And so we were able to bargain for lower contributions and more gradual increases so that we will all be having either a compensation kind of flat where our raise ends up paying for our healthcare increase, or most of us will get an increase in pay that actually is more than what our healthcare. And certainly over the life of the contract, I think every one of us will be getting an increase in pay that is more than what our healthcare costs. So that was our goal. It was a modest goal, but as you know, our power is pretty limited, taking striking off the table. And so this is what we had to work with. Again, I'm pretty satisfied with it, even though it took me a minute to get over the gold plan being eliminated. Um, I think for me, I'll have more money in my pocket. So if I need it, I'll be able to use it. And that's it. So hopefully this video, you actually have audio with it and it's not just me moving my hands around. If you have questions, definitely contact me or any member of my negotiating team. If they are really detailed questions about the plans, I may have to send you to HR. They are better versed in benefits, obviously, than I am, although I've learned a tremendous amount over the last few months dealing with benefits. So, all right, I hope you're having a good summer. I am off to Vegas on Sunday for about 9 days for poker. Hopefully, I will get so rich that I'll be able to afford any plan. But then again, if I get so rich, I may not be an employee of the University of Akron anymore. No, that's not true. I'd go crazy without working. Okay, have a good summer. I will be catching up with you soon. We will be having a meeting once everything's over. I gave you a brief update on where we are with things in the email, but just to recap, 16, I think, is completely done in principle, and I think we have some increases to our promotional raises, so look for that. 17, we've not looked at the rest of 17 yet. We're still waiting on that from the administration. 13, our RTP, I think we are actually, I, I think we agree in principle on almost all of 13, if not all of 13. And 29, we also agree in principle. There are a couple of places where we conceded to the administration on something that they felt wasn't negotiable. I'll illuminate that in my executive summary. There's things that we do think are negotiable, but we conceded negotiating them because it wouldn't have been productive for us to negotiate them for the life of this contract. I'll point out where those things are. The executive summary that I'll be giving out is very comprehensive. Um, so hopefully that will answer lots and lots and lots of questions. Um, okay, now I think I'm actually going. Thanks for listening. I will talk to you soon.